Hey everyone, welcome back to another ride and review video. Today I am here with a cruiser bike, the Honda Rebel 1100 DCT. By the way, thank you very much for your love and support. If you are brand new to the channel, this is Mo from Sunset Riders and I do motorcycle contents, motor vlogs and motorcycle reviews in the UAE. Let's fire up the engine. So you heard the engine, right? It sounds very similar to Africa Twin because they share the same engine, the 1084cc parallel twin-cylinder engine. Of course, there are some modifications made to it to suit the cruiser riding style, which I'll speak about later. So this Honda Rebel 1100 I'm riding is a 2024 model with a touring panniers and this beautiful headlight cowl or headlight fairing. In the GCC, the 2025 model and the 2024 doesn't have any much of a mechanical major difference. The differences are handlebars and the seat. The handlebars are 12mm higher and 28mm farther back compared to this 2024 version. The seat on the 2025 is 10mm thicker. So these things enhances the riding comfort and offers a much more relaxed riding posture. Also, the 2025 model comes with a 5-inch TFT display and you can also connect your phone to it and you have a USB port to charge your phones, which is a win-win because I'm in love with this 2024 version already. So I'm sure the 2025 is much better. Now let's talk about the power. It has approximately 85 horsepower and the weight of this bike is around 233 kilograms. That's with fuel, and the seat height is around 700 millimeters, which is like very low, and you can see it's a cruiser bike. It's not an ADV, so anybody can ride this bike, and it is not that heavy too. Now, I have been riding this almost for weeks, and of course, I can confidently say how I feel about this bike. Again, please do note, none of these episodes are sponsored by anybody and nobody has a say on what I share here with you guys. Yes, I do get motorcycles from the dealers or from the agency. That's just to ride and review the bike, but nobody has a say on what I share here with you guys. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So this is the first time I'm riding a Honda Rebel, not a cruiser bike. I have done some serious amount of riding on a Suzuki Intruder, the 800cc, and a Harley Davidson Ultra Glide, and a Yamaha 400cc. Anyway, talking about the big Bs, both Intruder and the Ultra Glide cannot be compared to each other. But if you ask me which one I would choose for a ride here in the UAE, 100% I'll say the Intruder. You know me, I prefer the Japanese machines over anything. That's my personal choice. But now I'm with another Japanese machine. Confusing times, I say. Alright, so the moment I started riding this bike, I felt so comfortable. And you know, it's not like the way I say for other motorcycles. You know, I did own Africa Twin almost for 2 years, and that's my favorite ADV so far. I call it the Land Cruiser of motorcycles. Guys, don't take it as an offense. That Africa Twin is so capable, reliable, powerful, and fun to ride. The reason I'm talking about Africa Twin here is the Rebel 1100, as I said earlier, comes with the same engine. The question about reliability is out of equation, in my opinion, But does it feel the same? No. You know, the flywheel is 20% heavier than the Africa Twin. So when you twist your wrist around the throttle, it gives you that cruiser heavy feel character to the engine. However, when I got to know I'll be testing this bike out, I was like, okay, I'm trying a cruiser bike with Africa Twin engine. But guys, when I started riding, trust me, something that happened to me for the first time. I was wondering, how is that possible? Surprisingly, I'm not a cruiser bike rider. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate them. I always say that I do love all kinds of motorcycles. And I even had the Suzuki Intruder 800. It was a super smooth bike, but I couldn't do longer rides on it. It didn't feel great on my lower back. I know the Rebel and the Intruder are two different sides of cruiser bikes. Both are great machines when it comes to reliability and smooth rides, but the Rebel has an upper hand on the riding position and the power, and most importantly, the DCT feature. By the way, this Rebel is a DCT. Okay, so those who don't know what is a DCT, it stands for dual clutch transmission. Yes, it is an automatic gear motorcycle, just like your car, if you have an automatic car, that it is. You don't need to shift gears. Matter of fact, you don't even have the gear lever down there. Instead, you have these switches with which you can shift the gears if you want to have fun. Otherwise, the bike will take care of this 6-speed automatic gearbox. You just relax and just ride. I really had fun riding this bike. I wasn't a fan of DCT at the very beginning. Those who watch my contents, they know I always say I like the old school gear shifting, clutch and gear lever and stuff. I have tried DCT in the past with some Africa Twins from my friends. I didn't like them, maybe because I had the manual Africa Twin and I didn't enjoy it much. And yeah, I did try a DCT on a Goldwing. That was a very short ride, and then I tried a Honda NC, and I think I did a pretty good riding on the NC. It was one of my friends, but that bike was not in a great condition and I didn't enjoy the DCT back then. But this time, when I tried DCT on this bike, it feels this DCT is made for this bike, and the DCT is also getting advanced year by year, and maybe this 2024 model has a better DCT than the other bikes which I tried in the past. I find it is so relaxing to ride and no need to worry about the shifting on highways as well as on busy streets. By the way, I believe, like most of you, it's my dream to have all sorts of motorcycles in my garage. I do have a list of motorcycles, and the name which I don't have yet was for a cruiser bike. That's because I haven't tried all of them. The list of bikes I wanted to try were from Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha and Kawasaki. And the Suzuki's Intruder which I tried was an 800cc, and I wasn't happy with the seating position, and I wanted to try the Boulevard, the bigger one, but I didn't get a chance. And I also know Honda makes other cruiser bikes like Shadow, Fury and maybe a few other bikes, but most of these bikes are not available in this region, unfortunately. Maybe I can find some used ones. If I do, I will try to do a ride and review with those bikes as well. And the next one I was excited was for Yamaha Bolt. I almost bought one, a used one, but then when I checked the review, I found out it has some heating issues, especially it's a V-twin and the engine head literally comes on near your thighs. And I know Yamaha also have got many cruiser bikes, but not all these bikes are sold in the UAE market. And remember, I mentioned a 400cc Yamaha which I rode. That was back in 2006. As I said, I don't even remember the name of it. It was something with star, and it was a 400cc, I believe. If any of you know the name of the bike, please do mention that in the comments. But I remember it had serious heating issues. Being a 400cc, still it had heat issues with that engine. Yeah, so we are talking about the engine heat. Yes, which is something I always mention in my videos, because we live in one of the hottest regions on this planet Earth. And engine heat for motorcycles and cars are crucial for us. And talking about the engine heat on this bike, it is not bad. It is not like the V-twin. It is much better, and on highways it is good. And as you know, We are at summer right now in the UAE, and the average temperature is around 45 plus. And I did ride through the city and highways during noon hours too, and it was decent for me. But yes, definitely it can improve in that area. The reason why I feel the heat is because the seat is very low and we're sitting very close to the engine compared to an Africa Twin. So maybe that's why I feel the heat is more than the Africa Twin on this bike. And remember, I said I did have experience on a Harley Ultra Glide. I didn't even think of comparing it with a Rebel because the experience was horrible for me. It was an old bike and the bike was different in its own way, but the heat, oh my god, that bike literally barbecued my legs. And it also had some oil leaks. So when it comes to the stopping power, the Rebel 1100 comes with ABS as a standard. That's a big win. And if you notice, the front has only one disc. That's something which I didn't like, because not that I have any complaints about the stopping power. They are really great. I don't have any negative things to say about it. But then aesthetically, when you look at it, it would have been nice if we had two discs at the front. It also comes with traction control, of course. It can be adjusted like most of the bikes we see nowadays. Up front, you're looking at the 43mm conventional telescopic forks. Conventional just means they are not upside down like how you see on sports bikes and stuff. Rear shocks offer preload adjustability. This is a nice feature because it allows you to, fine-tune the stiffness of the rear suspension. In terms of feel, the suspension is generally set up for a comfortable cruiser-style ride. Alright, now let me share what is great and what could have been better on this 2024 Honda Rebel. Most importantly, the seating, the handlebar position is super awesome. The riding triangle is a dream come true, and I didn't even feel like getting off this bike. Secondly, it's Honda, so it's not a surprise that this bike is so smooth and no vibrations. And when it comes to reliability, it's something which I don't even need to worry about. And this bike, it is so easy to maneuver. The size is both good for street as well as for highway, making it a great daily cruiser bike. Also, the bike comes with riding modes such as Sport, Rain, Standard, and you get a custom riding mode as well. By the way, the ignition key opens the seat, which hides a storage space and a USB to charge your phones or any other devices. And cruise control, it comes as a standard, so no gimmicks to make us pay extra for that feature. The touring option adds a half fairing and panniers, and the panniers are not too bulky, not too small, and it is great for storage. Finally, city riding. The DCT shines here. There is no doubt, and this makes our riding hassle-free and just twist and go. Trust me, I am a fan of DCT after riding this bike. Now, I'm going to mention the things could have been better in my opinion. First of all, the fuel tank capacity is just 13.6 liters, which doesn't help much if you're planning to do long rides without fuel stops like me. The max distance it can give you is around 230 kilometers in one full tank, so keep that in your mind. The next thing is the bike feels a bit small. Yes, it is an advantage, that's what I mentioned in the positives, where it is a great daily cruiser bike and it's easy to ride through the busy streets. But the Intruder 800 which I had was bigger than this. So if you're looking for a bigger, bulky bike, then this won't be the one. Also, the windscreen which is on the fairing, the headlight fairing which we have, it's so tiny. And it doesn't do anything to the wind, I feel. I wish it was at least an adjustable one so that you can change the height. And lastly, it is the rear seat. It is very small and I feel it is not comfortable for a pillion. Maybe this bike is meant for solo riders. So here you have my thoughts on this Honda Rebel 1100 DCT. It's a beautiful cruiser bike, but I strongly feel there is a bit of a bobber style in there. As I said, the riding triangle is just a dream come true. It is so comfortable. In my opinion, this is a powerful, stylish, nimble, modern bobber-style cruiser, which can be your daily companion as well as your weekend cafe rides too. Yes, I made my mind after riding this Honda Rebel 1100. This is definitely going on the list of bikes which will be at my garage one day, inshallah. And I can't wait for that day to come. Yes, I will definitely add a sweet sounding exhaust which can give me a bit of a bass. Yes, that's it. So if you love this ride and review, please do give me an awesome thumbs up and do share this video with your biker friends around the world. If you like to share some feedback, suggestion, or you want me to do a specific review, just let me know in the comments. By the way, more things are on the way, so stay tuned on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, much love, God bless, and ride safe. This is Mo from Sunset Riders.